Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into what is arguably the ultimate historical heist. We're talking about Mehmed II, better known as Mehmed the Conqueror, and how one incredibly ambitious young ruler managed to crack a fortress everyone thought was completely uncrackable, literally ending the Middle Ages in the process.
It's a question that has absolutely fascinated historians for centuries. I mean, how exactly does a 21-year-old dismantle an empire that's been standing strong for 1,000 years? Let's meet the prodigy behind a masterstroke so massive, it redrew the entire map of global power.
Section 1. A prodigy takes the throne.
To really understand the conquest, you have to understand the conqueror. Mehmed wasn't just handed the keys to the Ottoman Empire, he was intensely engineered for this exact moment. His childhood training was absolutely rigorous. He wasn't just learning to swing a sword, he was mastering warfare, political strategy, complex mathematics, and Islamic studies. And the languages. He was completely fluent in Arabic, Persian, Greek, and Turkish. He was molded from day one to not just conquer a massive, diverse region, but to actually communicate with it, understand it, and govern it.
So, all of this intense, multidisciplinary preparation converged at a shockingly young age. When Mehmed launched his ultimate masterstroke, he was just 21 years old. Think about that for a second. At 21, he already had the immense confidence and the strategic mind to take on the world's most daunting military target.
Section 2. The impossible target.
To grasp the sheer scale of his ambition, we have to consider the historical stalemate Mehmed was facing at Constantinople. On one hand, you've got the legendary Byzantine walls. These massive defenses had successfully repelled every single attack for nearly 1,000 years. And then, you have centuries of previous Muslim rulers who had tried to take the city and completely failed. So Mehmed wasn't just fighting an army here, he was going up against a 1,000-year winning streak. For most leaders, that kind of psychological barrier is a total deal-breaker, but for Mehmed, it was basically just a fascinating engineering problem waiting to be solved.
Section 3. Cannons, Ships, and Strategy. Breaking an ancient, undefeated fortress requires a completely new playbook. Mehmed showed up with an 80,000-strong army, but his real weapon was pure innovation. First, he hired an engineer named Urban to design these giant cannons that fired enormous stone balls to just hammer away at the ancient walls. But the Byzantines were smart. They blocked the Golden Horn harbor with massive, impenetrable chains to shut down the Ottoman navy. So what does Mehmed do? Well, since his ships couldn't go through the water, he ordered them dragged entirely across dry land. Using greased wooden logs, they bypassed those chains completely. Just imagine being a defender inside the city and suddenly, impossibly, enemy warships appear in your own harbor right behind your defenses. Absolute strategic genius.
Section 4. The fall of an empire.
All these unprecedented, outside-the-box tactics culminated in a grueling clash that lasted just 53 days. It kicks off in early 1453 with a relentless bombardment from those 80,000 Ottoman troops. By mid-siege, you get that crippling psychological and tactical blow of the ships appearing over land, and finally, the immense pressure just breaks them. On May 29, 1453, Ottoman forces pour through the breached walls. Emperor Constantine XI dies fighting, and just like that, the Byzantine Empire falls. This exact date is widely considered by historians as the definitive end of the Middle Ages.
Section 5. The birth of Istanbul.
But you see, the story doesn't end with destruction. Mehmed's ultimate goal was to build a thriving global center of power, and his pivot from warfare to governance was brilliant. He made a highly symbolic move by converting the Hagia Sophia into a mosque, sure, but right alongside that, he implemented broad religious tolerance. He allowed Christians and Jews to continue practicing their faiths. Why? Because he knew a global hub needed people. He actively encouraged migration to repopulate the area, rebuilt damaged markets, and established schools and public buildings. He wasn't just conquering, he was breathing new life into the ancient ruins.
And with his revitalized capital totally secured, Mehmed definitely didn't just sit back. He rapidly expanded his borders, pushing the Ottoman Empire deep into the Balkans, Greece, Serbia, Bosnia, and Anatolia. He was effectively transforming his empire into one of the absolute most powerful and feared states in the world. Mehmed II passed away in 1481, but his legacy is completely immortalized in this profound shift. His conquest changed history forever.
It shifted power firmly from the Byzantine world over to the Ottomans, and it laid the essential groundwork that helped make Istanbul one of the most culturally and politically influential cities on Earth, a status it proudly holds to this very day.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative thought to chew on. We so often view history as this slow, gradual evolution, right? But sometimes, a single event acts as a giant hinge for humanity. When those ancient walls fell and a 21-year-old bypassed unbreakable chains with grease logs, it literally closed the book on the Middle Ages. Did the fall of one empire truly trigger the birth of the modern world? Consider just how deeply this single, 53-day siege continues to shape the geopolitical landscape, the trade routes, and the cultures of the world we live in right now.